Good evening and salutations, my Days of Our Lives fans. You know what? Let's start off with Jack and Abby. Abigail. Sometimes I don't know about this show. I really don't. The weird thing. Well, it's not the weird thing, but sometimes the sad thing is that I feel like there's characters that I dislike more than I like. Like 60-40. And this scene, Jesus Christ, you know what? So, Jack is sitting there talking to Abby about Gwen, how Gwen was here, and, he pretty much tells her, like, yo, you need to stay away from Gwen. And she's like, no, I'm a big girl, I can handle it. It's like, that's not what I meant. I meant, like, you need to stay away from her because, what happened, when you assaulted her. And so Abigail just goes in. And she's all like, well, she started it and she was at the, she was at the gravesite, yada, yada, yada. Here's the thing. You can tell in this scene that Jack is not there trying to make up for lost time. He talks about her childhood and how it was crappy. And, she never had a father in her life. And I'm just trying to be there to support her now because I couldn't have been there, I couldn't have been there before. I'm just trying to do the best I can. And, Jack talks about the reason why she lashes out and this, that, and the third. And, listen, here's the thing. I agree with Abigail as far as, listen, a lot of people had crappy childhoods, grew up poor and hungry and stuff like that, and they turned out to be decent people. Not always, but for the most part, yeah. And with that being said, it doesn't give you, you know what I'm saying, it doesn't give you the right to sit there and hurt other people just because you're hurting, I mean, there's a saying, hurt people hurt people. So, they're going back and forth. And again, I totally agree with Abigail where she was coming at. Up until a point. Because they talk about Abigail's, grandmother. And how, Gwen killed her. And she said she was going to kill her. And she did it. And, Jack is like, listen, I'm going to give her the benefit of the doubt. I don't think that she's lying. And Abigail does something that just makes me feel a lot less sorry for her. She really, really does. She gives Jack an ultimatum. And says, well, you can't sit there and back Gwen and you can't have her back and my back at the same time. So you gotta choose. And I was like, is this chick serious? Listen, no one likes ultimatums. No one likes ultimatums. And the only person that generally winds up losing an ultimatum is the person who gives that. I mean, she really has some brass ones on her, like giving her dad an ultimatum. You know how selfish, self-centered she came off when she said that? I mean, listen, don't get me wrong. Gwen, the one thing for me that she did that was unforgivable was having sex with Chad while he was drunk. No matter what she says or anything like that, it's just something that I would never get past. But with that being said, I don't give her, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't give her a free pass for what she did. Like, what she did was still terrible. But I'm starting to have less sympathy for Abigail at this point. And, that just happened just rapidly. The minute that scene happened, I was starting to think about all the stuff that she did to Abigail. I was like, I'm not saying that you deserved it. I'm just saying that I just starting to not really feel sorry for you. Maybe you and Chad, that dick of a man. Maybe I do deserve each other. Maybe Maybe y'all do. Um, I don't know. Maybe for me, I feel like when somebody says something or does something that's just off puts me in a way where it's just like, are you kidding me? Like my respect and how I feel about someone just goes way downhill. It goes up and down depending on well, pretty much depending on my mood. But yeah, that was just ugh. So with that being said, Jack is pretty much pleading. It's like, don't make me do this. Don't make me choose. And at this point, they say a couple words and then she walks off. She walks out, she walks out the house and Jack calls Jennifer because, I don't really know why at this point. I mean, I know why he called her, but I heard that the actress isn't going to be there for much longer, so kind of like, why is she there? Like, you can just have talked to, like, air or whatever. Pretty much the only thing that Jennifer says is, don't be too hard on yourself, don't be too hard on Abigail. And listen, I get where Abigail's coming from. I get that she doesn't like Gwen, and she has every right to not like her, to not trust her, and to not want to have any parts of her. And yeah, that may change over time, but I get where all the smoke is coming from. I do, but yeah, I felt like that was just crossing the line. Now on the other side of town, you got Gabi and Gwen talking. You got them talking, and pretty much Gabi's plan is to befriend Gwen. She comes in and she pretty much tells Gwen her plan. She's like, well, me and Abigail's going to team up because she doesn't like you and yada, yada, yada. And, she talks about the reason why she doesn't like her. But she's like, you know what, listen, as much as I don't like you, I can't stand Abigail even more. Now, I heard her side of the story as far as her getting sent to prison for something that Abigail did, like framed her or whatever. And because of that, she can't have kids anymore. Which is, there's just no words for that. So she really sounded genuine. At one point, I was like, is she going to double cross her? And at first I was like, nah, don't do that, Gabi. But then after what she said to Jack, I was like, you know what, Gabi, you're right ahead. You know what? Yeah, I'm totally for it. But of course she played her. They drink champagne and, apparently Gabi roofied her. And when Abigail came to the door, they both looked at Gwen passed out, so they got some sort of plan for her. So that's pretty much that end of the story. You know what? Let's talk about a nice good waste of a scene. So, Aunt Paulette comes over, to Grant's house, and she pretty much meets Eli, and she is like way too handsy with him. Like way too handsy, and Lonnie's just there smiling and cracking up and being all like, oh, that's cute and everything like that. And I'm like, first of all, this scene is wrong for so many reasons. First of all, she's damn near sexually assaulting this man. Okay? Talking about him like she pretty much just wanted to take him to the next room. And she's just laughing, Lonnie's just laughing it up. And Eli's just sitting there trying to play along and everything like that. But, I have to sit there and play devil's advocate. We all know how, if this thing was reversed, and the guy was, like, I don't know, Eli's, uncle came over and started doing that to Lonnie, I'm pretty sure, one, he wouldn't be laughing it up, and two, she wouldn't be sitting there playing along. So, I don't know what that scene was about, but, after that, I'm not gonna lie, I'm not gonna lie, what was her point in this episode? She said that she came there because she heard about, the twins being born, and she wanted to come and see them. She jokes around with Abe. Abe seemed like that type of guy that's like, you don't want to sit there. Abe seems like the type of guy that you don't want to joke around with because you don't really know him. You don't know his comfort zone. Like, Paulette was sitting there coming at Abe a little bit, joking around with him. Of course, she didn't know that, but, he didn't know that, but she was all like, oh, you knocked up my sister, and yada, yada, yada. And Abe was like, yeah, I don't know where this is coming from, but this is inappropriate. Of course, she's like, oh, it's a joke, and he starts, laughing up a little bit, but I'm like, Abe, see, this is one of those things where it's like, you can't just joke around with anyone. And I've seen that before. I've seen people try to joke around with somebody else, and she was just not having it. But besides that, that scene really didn't, what was the point of it? Why is Paulette really there? I was about to call her Jackie or Harris, but why was she really there? She came there, she met Eli, she met Abe, she saw the twins. That was pretty much about it. Besides that, nothing else happened. I felt like it was actually just a waste of a scene. The sad thing is that I said this. I didn't say it's, in a video or whatever. But I said this when I was laying down. I was like, man, I hope it's not going to be a waste of a scene. I hope they're going to actually show why is she here and not waste this woman's time of getting on this show just for that way she could just be a pointless character. But I guess we'll wait and see. And she also needed to tell people that she was rich because, at this point, I don't know why. I don't know why she told people that she was rich. I don't know why this scene was really there. And I guess it was just there for filler. Now, the last scene I want to sit there and talk about is two scenes, really. This is the Sarah and Chloe scene and the Philip and Kristen scene. And Chloe... Something about Chloe I'm just starting to just not like, which is really odd because when she got in town and I saw her and I was like, first I was like, damn, she looks good. And then I was like, when she was with Philip, and you wasted that? Are you kidding me? What the hell is wrong with you? But now I'm just like, Chloe, I don't know about this chick. She meets Sarah. And the first thing that she says when Sarah's talking about how she's about to get, married to Xander is that, she needs to run for the hills. And I'm like, I literally wrote, cock block there. Because I was just like, what the hell? But then, Chloe talks about her experience, with Philip with Xander just kind of just leaving her high and dry. Instead of quote-unquote stepping up and, I don't know, being a man about the situation or whatever, or stepping up. Something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to lie. I guess it was a scene that really happened, and this was way before I was watching this, so I have no context to her story. But pretty much she just made it seem like Xander just kind of cut and ran, which I can totally see Xander doing that. But Sarah's like, he's a changed man, and, I love him, he loves me, and we're going to get married, and that's pretty much that. Chloe kind of, she apologizes for kind of, stepping into business, and I'm like, this isn't the first time that you are stepping into somebody's business, and to be honest, I don't even know how I feel about that, because partly it's like, alright, she's going to be honest, and she's going to sit there and tell her how she feels if she thinks that Sarah's in some sort of, one second, she thinks that Sarah's in some sort of danger. She's going to be honest about it and be like, listen, if you you want my advice or whatever. But I mean, the fact that she started off saying, you want my advice? She didn't say yes. You just kind of gave it to her, you know? And yeah, in some sort of ways, I felt like you did kind of step out of pocket with that comment. But they start talking, and at some point, they talk about Brady and Susan, and how Susan's being erratic, more than normal. Talks about how Susan has a crush on him, and then Sarah says something along the lines of, unless you have feelings for him. And she does this whole little hair thing, and that little doe-eyed kind of playing it off. And I'm sitting there looking at this, and I'm like, Chloe, what the hell are you doing? You know that he has pretty much spoken for. You know that they have a child together. You're constantly in close proximity to him, and you're using this whole, I pulled him in and I got him shot and stuff like that. Like, that's what she was saying to Sarah. It's like, I feel partly responsible because I got him into this mess, and I just want to help him out, and yada, yada, yada. I was like, he has family for that. They can hire a nurse for that. You don't need to be there. The only thing you need to be, if, I honestly tell you the truth, if she was actually being smart, she would drop off the files or whatever. They would talk about it over the phone, and that would be it. And this way she doesn't have to worry about getting too close to Brady, knowing that she has an attraction for him. At some point, because here's the thing, Kristen is talking to Philip, and, Philip is kind of spilling the beans about how, Chloe kind of has a thing for him, but he's not really getting a lot of concrete evidence, just the way she always hangs around him, and, turning down Philip, and just, all this other stuff. And here's the thing, he's also sitting there defending Chloe every time Kristen calls her, home wrecker, or one of those other names that I'm not going to sit there and say. It starts with the letter S, but one of those other names, every time that she talks bad about Chloe, he's sitting there defending her. Now, at some point, Kristen tries to get Philip to go after Chloe, so this way, Chloe could be occupied and, won't be hanging around Brady so much. Now, here's my whole thing about this whole thing that just makes this kind of stupid about Kristen's plan. If she is so worried about Brady cheating on her, you think a muff is going to really stop that? Like, what happens if some other hot girl comes in town? What are you going to do then? Like, honestly, to tell you the truth, in a sad way, I feel like she should sit there and test him. And to see if he's that type of person that's going to sit there and cheat on her. But instead, she's sitting there trying to play interference and so desperately trying to cling on to him. Kind of creepy, actually. So, where was I? At some point, Kristen decides to, goad Philip into asking her out, And he does that. He calls her up, and, Chloe's like, oh, well, I'm just about to go and see Brady and stuff. And Philip's like, well, you know what, listen, he's going to be asleep, and he's going to be asleep all night, But if you still want to hang out for dinner or whatever, that's, we can do that. And Chloe's like, nah, it's cool. I'm just going to go to bed and just call it a night. So, have a good night. And I'm just like, damn, that hurt me. That hurt me just watching that. And, here's the thing about Philip. He doesn't really have a lot of good qualities. He really doesn't. And this is somebody who just started watching this show, seeing him, calling him the quote-unquote man-child, but I don't think he's a terrible person either. I think he does have good qualities underneath. I've seen a handful of them. And here's the thing, I know that Philip really screwed things up with Chloe. He did. In a lot of ways, he kind of lost his shot, but I mean, I still think that, I don't think he's the worst choice in the world, you know? And the fact that she's not really sitting there giving him the time of day, but she'd rather sit there and pursue a man who is pretty much spoken for, well, it really says a lot about her character. And, it's not good so far. Which is really sad, because she, well, at least she started off. I had the impression of her that she was a good character. And I'm not saying she's a terrible character. But the fact that she's sitting there trying to get between Kristen and Brady, and she keeps sitting there like shooing off a guy who actually wants to be with her, really speaks volumes about her. And yeah, with that being said, I think that's actually going to do it. Anyway, I forgot what I was going to sit there and say. So, let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section below. Did you like it? Did you not like it? What do you think of Chloe at this point? Because I don't know. I don't know. Again, I think if Kristen was actually smart, she would sit there and test him, rather than sit there trying to play interference, or sit there trying to cling on to a guy who Philip actually said may start to have feelings, or may start to reciprocate those feelings, you know? Catch him in the act. See what kind of a dirtbag he is. Stop sitting there trying to cling on to a man who's just gonna, the minute he sit there and look at some legs or anything else, who's Kristen? But that's just my opinion. Write your comments down below. Be safe, everyone. I will catch you in the next video.